Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarket's podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato, Vision 2025, a license to skill. God, I love that entire 007 theme that's going on here. A lot of learning going on. We're recording this on the last day, and we're having a blast here at Vision. It's been so much fun. We want to thank NAPA Tracks for having us here at Vision. NAPA-TRACS.com, the best and most comprehensive SMS in the industry. Thanks so much to our other sponsors. You know, NAPA Tracks will move your shop into the SMS fast lane with on-site training and 6-day-a-week support. Also, I think the biggest thing is the local representation. Are you kidding me? NAPA Tracks on the web at NAPA-TRACS.com. Are you ready to roll out a training plan for your automotive shop? You ready to optimize? We'll use today's class in just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. Great gamification programs here to challenge all your people. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Hey, we're back, and I have no idea why I'm doing this episode. I don't know if it was you, Matt, or if it was Tracy that wrangled this episode together. The last episode of our trip here. And
I assure you, it wasn't me.
Okay. If we would run the audio and the video before, I mean, honest to God, I mean, we're talking about movies and Rocky and The Wolf of Wall Street and you name it. We're talking about towing. It was the episode.
Yeah, you really missed out. Sorry.
I did.
So thanks for listening.
So, thanks. We just want to tell you what you missed. I'm with Matt Fanslow, Diagnosing, the Aftermarket A to Z podcast on the Aftermarket Radio Network. I think you work on cars in Red Wing?
I mean, I talk like I do.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I think you've fooled a lot of people.
Oddly enough, I agree with you. So I actually do try to work on cars or diagnose them and stuff, fix them. But I have a lot of people fooled into thinking I know what I'm doing.
You have something incredibly in common with Andrew Sexton from ATS Auto. I forgot to get exactly where your shop is. What city in Iowa?
Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Cedar Rapids. Got towing, about 13 bays and kind of a multi-unit
Between
operation.
two buildings, yeah.
How long you been in business, man?
Since 2009.
2009. I want to talk about towing with you later. Sitting to my left, Zeb Beard. How you doing, man?
All right.
Great. Strokersdiesel and Automotive, Monticello, Arkansas. I love the pictures of your place.
Oh, yeah?
We could fit like 3 football fields inside.
Oh, yeah, that place is amazing. I love it. It's my dream.
And what did it take to build that? I mean, did you start from something small and get bigger, or did you just say, hey, I'm going all in?
No, we actually opened in 2005 in 4,000 square feet, and then we went to 9,000, then 12,000, and then my motto is I try something just a little bit, like turning a knob, and if it works, then I turn the knob till it breaks off. So
The term's 11. You turn it to 11.
yeah, we turned it till it broke off. So that was 62,000 square feet.
Half of it's his house. He lives there. So
Well,
30
not exactly half. Only like probably, I'm going to say 9,000 square feet is my house.
Is the house.
Yeah, yeah.
And is
The
it
master
is it in the
bedroom's
building,
like 4,000.
or Is it off the side?
No, it's inside.
It's inside? 9,000 square? Do you have like square dances there? What do you do? It's something that big.
He's got a walk-in closet.
Yeah, I've got a huge closet that's probably bigger than this room. I mean, once you get to know me, Carm, we're going to have a long relationship, I'm sure, but you'll see everything I do it just as big and as grand as I can do it.
All right. So it was 10 years ago, this month, that I started this podcast. 10 years ago.
Wow.
My dial went to 2 to 3 to 4. This guy can teach me how to go to 11, couldn't he?
Oh, hell yeah.
I think you're there.
Well, I don't understand because I'm doing something wrong. Because I did that like 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 2, 1.
we were kind of getting in the moment here just before in that the Wolf of Wall Street thing. Could we do that Zen thing that McConaughey
It's your podcast. We can do whatever we want.
Let's do. Who was doing
Andrew.
it?
Hey, that's
Yeah.
all Matt.
I did nothing. I
You
knew the
came up
story
with the
behind it.
idea.
You're the
That
one
was-
beating your chest
No,
over here, humming.
That wasn't me.
No. That was you.
Andrew, what was
You
it?
sure that
I
wasn't Zeb?
distinctly remember.
So why I want to do that is I want to get the pounding of the table out of the way. And if you're listening in your car going down and you hear this thump, 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 nothing's wrong with the car. It's just the podcast. So are we good? Are we
Well,
ready?
that sounds to me
Are we
like
good?
you need to have Zeb doing it while he explains how to turn the knob to 11.
Yeah,
because
he's
that
the
would
one
fit the
ready to
movie.
go for
Ready?
this
Let's
stuff.
do this. Ready? What did he do? What did he say?
Well, he was beating his chest, and then he had a
Yeah.
humming.
Oh, he's beating his chest, and then he
I don't
started.
even remember how it
Didn't he
goes.
pound on the table too?
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
he
mean,
switched
they
to
got-
it after
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
Does everybody remember that
He was
scene?
high on coke, and I left that in the hotel room. I can go get it.
And so here's the story, and I didn't know this. Matt Fanslow said that Matthew McConaughey created that right on the
off
scene.
the cuff, yeah.
Off the cuff in that movie. DiCaprio is
Yep.
he's sitting there watching this, and
He's just reacting to Matthew McConaughey doing this.
Oh, my
and then they
God.
just kept
And
it in.
and
there.
they
if you
cut the
watch,
scene.
if you watch, you see Leo actually look offline, like towards the cameraman or the director,
Kinda-
like what the hell's going
What,
on
are we
here?
going to do something about this
Yep.
or what?
and if I was the director, I would say just like keep going.
Which
Keep-
is an
keep-
I'm sure that's
improvisational
what they
actor.
did.
It was a horrible move on his part, but he's Leo. He gets away with it.
Honest to God, I know. Does it happen in daily life today?
Improvise. That's
Yeah.
all I do.
Beating
know.
our chest.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Think about
Zeb
it.
beats his chest all the time. Apparently, if he's
All
got a
the time.
59,000 square foot.
all the time.
Facility,
I'm well known for it.
Wow.
You talking other people into buying big properties too? Or?
Oh, I do everything I can. I'm trying to talk Keith Perkins into it
I
right
know
now.
he was telling me about it. He showed me the building, and I'm
think-
sitting there going, "What?"
Go big or go home.
You need to expand.
That's right.
It's got 3 floors in it. And like, woof.
Have you been there?
No, Keith was showing me pictures of it, saying Zeb's trying to get me to buy this.
Oh,
I recommend it to anybody. It's
If it
just the
worked for
greatest thing
Zeb,
you
it
can
should
do.
work for you. Why not? Pull the trigger.
absolutely.
Well, I agree with that, or else you should buy an old fire station like Seth Thorson. But they need to leave the pole. That would have been a deal breaker.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna buy this old firehouse, and there's no
They
pole.
usually
There's no
re-
point of
remove
having a
them.
Yeah.
firehouse
What's the
house
point?
anymore, right?
I know. Are we going to talk about business? I love what
We
we're
are
doing.
talking about business. We're
I
talking about
love
buying
it.
buildings.
Yeah,
and
buildings,
building
Yeah,
empires. and-
exactly right. So part of the discussion before we turned the mics on was about towing.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeb says, God, put me in a tow truck. I'm in heaven.
That's right. That's my getaway. I usually save up my toes for after 5 because that's my relaxing time.
Oh, no.
and Andrew is trying to get out. At one point, you said you had 17 trucks,
I had 17 tow trucks.
and now you have 2.
I'm down to 2. I have 5 technically in total, but we're finishing up the last couple, kind of fixing them, getting them painted up and ready for selling them.
If you'd have had a rotator, you'd have made a killing this week.
No.
Killing.
Why?
Yeah, on
Because of the snow?
35?
The snowstorm, man. I drove down through the aftermath, and it was like a freaking car and truck graveyard on all the ditches.
Yeah, you drove down.
Yeah,
They're
everywhere.
so expensive. When you're buying a rotator,
That's why you
it's-
charge a lot to pull them out of the ditch.
It's like a
and then it
half
pays
million
for
dollars
itself.
or more. I'd have to be.
Yeah,
like,
I think actually a new one's up like
I'd have to have
almost
Zeb as
$2
a
million.
friend.
I think it's $2 million for a new
So
one.
you and Andrew just cut a check and then drive away.
Yeah.
Need somewhere to store it. I guess I would.
Do you have
be
to
buying
prove you have a
59,000
Class A
square
or
foot building.
chauffeur's license, or you just, as long as you got the money, you can drive it off?
No, you got to have a Class A. I'm pretty sure to do.
I think they even make them automatic. You'd be gold.
Oh, for a rotator?
Automatic transmission?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about that portion of it, but yeah, you definitely need a Class A for it.
I don't.
I'm not even interested. So we, at our second building, we actually are next to another big towing company, and there's been a lot of people growing back into it, and I don't want any part of it
Were you
anymore.
AAA?
Yeah, we did do AAA, and we covered a very large area. So we started with just like 2 trucks, and then we worked our way up all the way to 17, and didn't have a lot of money, so we worked hard. We worked for everything that we bought.
Andrew, what was the biggest reason for the call? Was it batteries?
Batteries were a big portion of it. Just regular tows. I mean, we did a lot of light service, honestly. Like light service, I'd say was probably 60-70%. Doing
What's light?
lockouts,
Okay,
jump
okay.
starts,
All right.
that kind of thing. Tire
Well, but a
changes.
jump start's a battery issue usually.
Yeah, it's dead.
Why aren't we testing batteries? Even if it tests marginal and it's 4 years old, we should be telling customers, hey, look.
Everybody has a hang up of recommending a battery. It's 3 to 5 years old.
So it's our fault. It's not the consumer saying yes.
Well, it's a little bit of everything because
Yes,
you
I
have
agree.
one is the cost of the batteries have shot up, and there's
Way
reason
up.
for it,
Yeah.
right? Logical reasons for it. And people don't They haven't, realigned their idea of how much a battery should be. They're still stuck in their $80. The other thing, though, is modern vehicles are really, really good about starting on a really bad battery.
Except for AGMs.
Yeah. But generally, they're very good. The battery categorically tests bad. You can prove it. Load test, even the conductance testers. You can provide them with the sheet of paper, printout, however. The car still starts, and it starts fast, and it starts when it's really hot out. It starts when it's really cold out. And so why do I replace this battery? Until it doesn't.
Some customers actually notice that it cranks slow, but they don't even correlate it.
Right.
Because you'll have somebody be like, well, were you having problems? Like, did it crank slow or anything like that? Well, yeah, actually it did.
Months ago.
But they don't correlate it to needing a new battery. Not until it's click, click, click.
Is that, you do most heavy duty, right? Big fleets?
Yeah, it's mostly that, but we work on everything from small cars all the way up to big trucks.
Do you do work on tractors in Arkansas?
We can. I get calls for that every day, and sometimes I'll let somebody get me in a trap, and I'll take one. I'm in a trap currently on one.
Yeah, and you got to be a little more specific because a lot of people refer to semis as tractors, tractor trailers.
Right.
So you're talking about agricultural tractors. So
That's right. What's the big agricultural crop in Arkansas?
Oh, we have everything. I
Really?
think rice probably. I think because we have Stuttgart, Arkansas, which is the rice and duck capital of the world.
I did
Oh, he
not know
said
that.
rice.
yeah, what did you think he
I thought
said?
he said grass.
Yeah, me too.
They have grass
I was
down
like,
there too.
I didn't realize that we were
No,
growing
that's what I
grass.
heard. I heard grass.
Like, okay.
We
Yeah,
also
yeah.
have our own language in Arkansas.
I've noticed.
Did you notice how we just sat there and straight faced you and were like,
I guess I heard rice.
All right.
No,
I didn't know I spoke Arkansas.
yeah, after
I
this
didn't notice. I
podcast,
thought I was being interesting.
I say after this podcast, I think a ton of people are going to move to Arkansas. They're like,
You know,
grass?
both of you, you're very interesting.
I thought
Very.
I thought I've got the audience.
He's got a second
captured.
business
Wait a minute.
opportunity.
You have
Got
them in
the audience.
That's what I thought.
I have them enthralled. They're in the palm of my hand.
It wasn't that. They just didn't understand what I said.
Same thing.
And I was going to say, I didn't know it was legal in Arkansas. That's what I was going to say.
They're working on that.
All right.
Yeah, they export.
I feel like if we were, at your business, like I would have no idea what some of your employees are saying. Like, I mean, you really don't even have that thick of an accent, but
They're
Some-
pretty close. My son, he's got it pretty bad. Some of the other employees, and my wife, she's actually from California, but she moved here when she was 3, so she's got a weird mixture of it. Yeah, she says some things like I do, and then other things is Californian.
I got a niece in Alabama. So when she's in Alabama with her friends, the accent comes out. She comes up here completely fine.
Really?
Yeah.
She suppresses it?
She just can turn it right off.
Wow.
I can turn it down. I can't turn it completely off.
Okay.
I'd like to actually hear it. I
Yeah,
have
turn
not
it
heard
down.
her actual-
Turn it down.
Well, it's kind of hard to do on command.
I got to think about it.
Yeah.
You got to focus.
Putting me on the spot there.
This episode is going in a million different places.
Yeah, I think we went off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
There are no rails where we're going.
That's okay. Yeah, we should also mention the fact that if anyone's ever listened to Matt's podcast, ever, you're probably going to hear a movie quote every 2 episodes, just for the.
Every 2 sentences.
And so we were chatting about Rocky, and he told me something about Rocky that I did not know, that Henry Winkler had a lot, who was the Fonz.
Instrumental.
It was very instrumental. Give us a minute on that.
A whole minute? Well,
Putting you on the spot.
oh, seriously, they were friends. Stallone and Winkler.
Yeah,
Winkler is at the height of the Fonz, probably just before the Jump the Shark. And Stallone had penned this movie, Rocky, and he really wanted to direct it, but he doesn't have any money. He's living in a car. He's crashing at Winkler's place, stuff like that. And Henry's got connections, right? He's got some pull now with studios because he's the Fonz. And which, if you don't know that, is a show called Happy Days. And he was the cool guy like Zeb Beard, and he went, "Hey." And he did that because he was severely dyslexic and he couldn't say the script. So he'd not know what to do. And he'd go, "Hey," well, it takes off. So he goes to the studio, sells the script for a fair bit of money, however much that is, $50,000, something like that. And Stallone's now can afford to live a little bit. The idea was when I sell the script, I get to direct it. Stallone was going to direct. He had no intentions of acting. And the studio then, after they own the script, decided he's not going to direct it. So after a while of the script not going anywhere, Stallone gets the opportunity to buy it back and then finds somebody to fund it. He, of course, directs it. And then, as we all know, acts in it because he couldn't really find that person. And the movie explodes.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so you start hearing the stories from Stallone as it's, looking back and how instrumental Winkler was to it. And then Winkler is in a show on HBO called Barry, and he's getting popular again. Now people are asking like, wow, I heard you're responsible for Rocky, and you're listening to a person in real life who is almost polar opposite than the Fonz.
You're right.
Very humble, very soft-spoken, very
Right.
kind.
Yeah, he acted that so well.
Dude, insane.
I mean, I grew up with that thing. It was current stuff
Yeah.
back when there were 3 channels.
And the remote was the kid.
Yeah. You're leading Tech Talks today here at Vision, and you've done it, I think, for maybe 4 years.
Honestly, I think it's 5, but I missed the 1 year because Danielle was sick.
Yeah, okay. And Tech Talks, Matt is kind of, if you will, the MC or the host. And again, I don't know if you reach out to the friends that you have in the industry and say, hey, it's kind of like a TED Talk where somebody just gets up on stage or in front of a group of service professionals and they start talking about stuff. Do they know the topics that are being covered? The audience knows it, or they're just there to say, oh, what's next?
That would be cool, but no, they know. It started out, the whole premise of it, not just started out, the whole premise is there's not really a pathway for anyone, technician or whatnot, to become a trainer, to get some training experience, especially at a show like Vision. And so the idea was, what if we had a class where the original idea was seriously just everybody show up, bring your laptops, bring a thumb drive, and we'll just randomly, whoever wants to, get up there and put up 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, something like, here's a case study. Here's an interesting car I ran into here. I've been thinking about how this system works and how we've been taught, and I think it's wrong. That was the general idea. But it's really evolved to people that have not had the opportunity to present and train, educate, whatever. And they have an interest in it, but they really don't want to try to pull off 3 hours by themselves. That's a lot of pressure. How many slides do I need? What do I do if I run out of slides? So now I have the opportunity to go up and present however long I want.
Break the ice.
I am not responsible of carrying this whole class. There's going to be somebody else. There's going to be somebody else.
It's a little bit more like what we do when we come to Vision or whenever techs meet up. Like we sit and we talk about all these weird cars that we've had and how we fixed it and how we figured it out. Same thing when we call each other.
The networking part.
Oh, yeah. It goes right back to networking. And then, the trainers, like creating new trainers as we grow.
I started out, I had to go to people like, hey, could you help me out? I need presenters. And first couple of years, heavily recruited. It was so bad, I had to have Bryn Klein. He's great.
Wait a minute.
He is great.
Stop.
Bryn's one of
St. Anne, my wife, loves Bryn Klein. I just want you to know that.
That's unfortunate. I love him too. He's one of my best friends, and he's great. He covered for me the year I had to miss. He was phenomenal. I don't know why they had me come back. But following years, the last 2, 3, I get approached about it. Do you think I could present? Do you think I could present? And then I think this last year, Zeb's sitting in 3rd row, and the gentleman made a presentation on diesels, and it referenced thermal imaging. And I had just kind of heard Zeb say, like, that's one of my favorite tools on that. So I kind of like jokingly like, hey man, you should present next year. And he's like, all right. Like, I think that's what he said too. It's like, all right.
I don't think there's anything Zeb would say no to.
I shouldn't say,
Very-
Am I right?
There's very few
You got to
things.
be careful about that proposition. But
No, I mean, it's like 2, 3, 11, right?
so he is.
Give me the big truck. Give me the big tow truck. Hey, let's face it. Your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPATRACS, that's NAPATRACS.com. Transform your team with today's class, where automotive training is easy, quick, and fun. Just 5 minutes a day on our app can eliminate hours of looking up forgotten information later. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Keep critical knowledge fresh and top of mind, ensuring your team operates at peak efficiency. Today's class is impactful, accessible from anywhere, and a bit of fun too, and we're not talking about after-hours pizza either. For training that gets results, turn to todaysclass.com.
Before we get back to Tech Talks, what's your next project we should know about that you're going to say yes to?
They're adding on.
All you got to do is ask.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I love it. I love attention. So
Yeah. We're adding on to the 60,000 square foot facility with a 60,000 square foot.
We're going to put a storage shed
We're
next to it.
doubling.
We're running out of room.
We're going to do a 2X.
There's a helicopter launch pad on top.
So you're presenting thermal imaging.
yes.
You got slides and everything?
Yeah, I got, 20-something slides because it started out as 20 minutes, and then he said we had to go 45. Now it's an hour and 45 minutes. Is that right?
We're just handing you the microphone and you just go 3 hours.
I can go 12 hours.
You see? 2X, right? 10X.
We got Zeb doing diesels and highlighting thermal imaging and how he goes about using that and whatever else he wants to do. But that's kind of the basic premise. And then we got Garrett Jacobson is going to do HP tuners, which most people associate with tuning, and having that type of class where we're tuning vehicles, presumably where they're no longer emissions compliant, doesn't fly for a professional setting like this. So he's going to do more of the scan tool portion, the actual generic scan tool that's got some really nice features that we could legitimately use for a very low cost to fix cars.
Garrett helped me fix a Saturn Solstice that was just a pain.
Yeah, we're buying an
Solstice,
interface for like $300-400 and having a pretty powerful generic scan tool. Not that generic scan tools are so powerful, but the way that you can plot the information, the data, is different than the vast majority of scan tools out there, making it extremely useful. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Who else is going to be on?
No, these are the two.
These are the two.
Yeah, Zeb's the.
So you got like a 2-hour program or 3?
I think it's pushing 3, and they throw in that break and all that.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Well, you see how it started with 15 minutes, and then Zeb came, and we're just like, okay, just hand it
And
to
I'll
him.
look at the
I see.
clock. And
There could have been 3 others, but he took all the time.
Zeb took all
Zeb-
of the time up.
Zeb, I'll probably try to stretch out an intro for him for like 45 minutes.
As I say, we might even want to start with Garrett, so that way Garrett can finish, and then hand it over to
Oh,
Zeb.
this
That would be great.
Whoa, there's the smart move. And so, however long he takes, Zeb fills the rest.
Yeah, I think it'll work out great.
And so, here's my question to you, Zeb. Do you think you'll be back doing a training the next year here?
Oh, I'm sure that I'll be signing contracts. People will.
You need an agent?
I'm sure I will.
All right.
You going to be my agent?
I can do that, yeah.
He did a contract for me. I shit you not, man.
You see what happened.
He's like,
Roped him right in.
has me looking at this contract. He's like, either your signature or your brains are going to be on this contract.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, but that's my family, Kate. It's not me.
He assured me that either my signature or my brands are going to be all over that contract.
I love that line from The Godfather. I
was
watch
a
it
true
for the
story.
100th time, you know? And Michael says that, and I'm just sitting there with the shitty grin. Wait for the rest of the movie.
That was a
Have
true
you seen
story.
The Godfather?
I have. It's been a long time. I was sitting there going, is
he
that the
going with this?
Godfather? Like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was.
Everything's the
Yeah.
Godfather.
Yeah, everything is. yeah.
It doesn't surprise me with you. Yeah.
Just to let you know, it's Tracy and I's favorite movie.
I think Starship Troopers is her favorite movie.
Yeah, that's
No,
a great movie.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it
not.
is. It is a great movie.
Yeah?
The rest of them were terrible, but
Oh,
the first
God,
one was great.
horrific.
I know you're a movie guy, Matt. What's your favorite movie?
You can't ask me that.
All right.
You got to divide it up by genre.
I think that would take up the rest of this podcast.
Yeah,
probably.
Graves, you can't do that to
You're
me.
killing me. You got a favorite movie, Zeb?
I have a lot of them, but the
Oh, of
first one.
course he does. Yeah.
Please say Smokey and the Bandit. Please.
The first one that comes to mind is Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
good
yeah, man.
Oh, my God.
I think I almost know it word for
The
word.
duality of man.
Can I tell you that in my basic training, the sergeant in Full Metal Jacket, it was a spitting image on how he acted and how he looked. And his name was Sergeant Peters back when I did basic training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And every time I see that movie, it takes me back.
That's such a good movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
They said R. Lee Ermey, the parts where he was, berating all the trainees or whatever they call them, they said that was actually real. They just turned him loose and let him go.
100% improvised because they had him. He was not the actor. They had a different person acting as the drill sergeant, but he passed away a while ago.
He did.
But he was in the background writing like the script or showing the guy how to act.
He was advising,
Yeah, and they overheard him once. Kubrick finally overhears him, and he's like, oh, man, he's got to be the guy. And then it's exactly like Zeb said. Just flip the camera on, the microphone's on, tell the other actors, Modine and everybody, to just roll with it and cut that guy loose.
So I've got a title for our episode, Tracy. Movies and More with Matt, Zeb, and Andrew.
Part 67.
So regarding Tech Talks, how many that presented are now training?
There's maybe a couple of them I can't think that are necessarily like full-time doing it, but I think almost everybody to some degree.
I know you've taught a couple of classes here already. You guys gone to any training so far?
I went to this key cutting class that Andrew put on, and it was really good.
Yeah, we walked in, we saw both of you going at it. That was great. No, I mean, you were both teaching together.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
I didn't mean
the
it
door
like
was
that.
locked.
No. No.
I think I hung my privacy sign on my hotel door.
You got to see that Andrew was doing all the work.
Going at it can mean something else, like, having a little friction up front in your discussion.
Yeah, that's pretty normal for us, I suppose.
I mean, he's constantly berating me. So
Little yin, little yang.
That was a big class. You had a lot of people there. What's going on with keys? I mean, is there more going on, people warming up more to want to be in the key business?
Oh, I think so. They have to.
It's kind of becoming required, especially with all the modules we're replacing now. Everything's becoming immobilizer related.
Right.
Even ABS modules are immobilizer related now.
Yeah, you're running into the situation where a lot of the new cars being sold only come with a key. And also, it's more than just key cutting and key programming itself. It's like Andrew kind of alluded to, if we're replacing certain modules that are determined to be theft related, then some sort of a function has to be done requiring tools, of course, OE, but a lot of maybe specialized aftermarket tools to marry modules or allow these modules to function on the car to allow it to start and run. And it's a mobilizer function, which is hand in hand with keys. So basically, it's opening up this whole new segment that's showing up in our bays out of necessity. And you're seeing this, I don't know what you would call it, merging of locksmith. Yeah, the locksmith industry is kind of smashing right into auto repair. And we're crisscrossing into each other's territories. You have very, very high level locksmiths who have acquired many tools, including manufacturer specific scan tools to do key programming, figuring out, hey, I have the ability to program modules. So now they're evolving into almost like mobile techs. Not almost, like really, they're evolving into mobile techs.
That's essentially what's happening. I mean, we've almost kind of joined the two groups, minus like residential, commercial locksmithing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the keys themselves now they're actually electronic parts that can fail. Yep. So it's not just a piece of metal that turns a cylinder. Now it's an actual computer inside. I guess it is a module inside. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's complex, just the key portion.
Yep, exactly.
So I got a question about AI. Yeah, someone said the other day that AI is going to be so good that anybody could DIY their car by just putting in a symptom or two. I love, you see, he's shaking.
Do I think that they could do it? Yeah, I think people could figure stuff out.
But where are they going to
afford the tooling?
Yeah, my point is that what you guys just talked about is completely the opposite of somebody trying to figure it out themselves.
You're not going to get away from an issue where it's going to operate on probabilities, because right now, everybody's idea of AI, for the most part, when somebody mentions AI, they're talking about ChatGPT or DeepSeek or something like that. These are large language models. They are not AI. They don't know anything. It's basically predictive text on steroids. But it does draw, like the newer ones, the newer versions do draw on information from the internet, but they're pulling information from garbage in many cases, forums and user enthusiast forums, stuff like that. So it's still probability. So you punch in information on your vehicle, what it's doing. It's basically just going to pull all this information in and start rattling off the probabilities of what is wrong. And then you could test this and that. And it may try to help you test it, but it's going to refer to scopes, tooling, like Andrew said.
Right.
It can't get any better than that. Now, there's something called deep learning that could start moving in on that, but that's not going to be coming from the public. That is going to be driven by the manufacturers because they can't have variance in service quality dealership to dealership to dealership. So that will be driven, and that will be more like deep learning for them, so that you can't go to, Matt's Chevrolet and have a horrific experience because we can't figure anything out, and then end up going to Zeb's GM and they knock it out of the ballpark. They want it to be no matter what. They want it to be like McDonald's. My Big Mac is the same whether I'm eating a Big Mac in Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, or New York. So that will be driven that way. That won't really have a lot of access to the public.
I think AI is going to be more used for technicians getting information about the vehicle that we're working on. Instead of them looking up specification, you're asking AI, hey, how many quarts of oil go in this? I think the information that AI can provide as far as diagnosing, it's there in service information. Mm-hmm. You just need to read it already.
But the thing that AI is missing is, and I'm a shop owner, so I know about this, and I've learned this when I hire somebody, there's a certain amount of instinct that a good technician has. Mm-hmm. And they may eventually get it, but I don't believe that's so.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, we're all very good at what we do at being a technician. The thing we do when we walk up to a car, there's a feeling that you get that you know what direction to go. And AI will never be able to do that. I don't see it being able to.
There's a book that kind of addresses that called Blink. And if I think about it, I'll remember
Malcolm.
Yeah, that's who I was going to lean towards was Malcolm. But why people become experts or how they become experts, and in many cases don't actually understand how they know something. So one example I remember from the book was a statue that they were positive was like legit, ancient, made back in the Greek days, and worth unbelievable amount of money. They didn't think it was a fake. But there's an expert who's looking at it, and it, by all accounts, it seems to be a legit, but it doesn't sit right with them. It just doesn't sit right with them, and ends up it is a fake. Very well done fake. But this person couldn't really explain how they knew or why they knew. But it's kind of what Zeb's saying. It's almost like this gut feeling, this instinct of what to do. I hop in this vehicle, it doesn't start, crank it over, and whatever it is, how the vehicle's shaking, the cadence that you hear, the smell, I know my next step is going to be this. And how did you get to that point? Well, you might not be able to explain it.
No.
How many times do we, have a customer saying, hey, my car is doing this weird thing, this and that. They want you to draw, will you hook up with a little box and see what codes it has? Like, why don't we go for a ride? Take me for a ride. Show it to me so I can see it. And I think just about every time it happens, and then you sit there and go, ooh, yeah, I got an idea. I think I know what direction I want to go. It's
intuition, critical thinking, experience. Can AI ever have all of that someday, do you think?
I would say yes.
Quantum, with quantum stuff,
Well, quantum's just more about speed.
Yeah, I know.
And how much
I get
information.
that.
Okay.
In the future, can it get there? Yes. It's a long way off, I still think.
I've referenced it many times. It's probably a broken record, but one thing to consider, and it's an example of deep learning, is we had something years ago called AlphaZero, and it was Google's AI engine. And all they did was give it the rules of chess and the goals. That's it.
That's right.
How to win. And then they let it for 4 hours play itself. 4 hours later, it is the most powerful chess engine on the planet. It isn't anymore, but it was. In 4 hours of just playing games against itself, it came up with strategies that blew the grandmasters' minds. Seemingly foolish moves end up being instrumental in a win. And I just think that's a clue as to how that works, because the reason I like the analogy is chess, there's really only so many moves to make. The pieces there's only so many squares, there's only so many directions the pieces can take, there's only so many pieces. And that's just like a car. There's only so many things that can be wrong with the car. It's not an infinite amount of things that prevent it from starting or driving or not shaking or making a noise. It's not infinite. It's very finite, which means it can be quote unquote solved.
You can corral it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I think with enough information fed to it, deep learning can come up with extremely accurate means of either predicting or leading you to the repair. Your hand is going to be held. Probably the interface may be audio or vocal. maybe like augmented reality possibility, but it's a ways off. It's a ways off.
Are we in an exciting time in our industry?
Absolutely. Not because of AI. I think it's just an exciting time in the industry just because of the technology we have to deal with now forget AI. Just cars are really, really cool.
So a new model comes in, a 2025 comes into your bays, and you look at it as if, oh, I worked on the 2024. And you jump in and you realize, ooh, stuff has happened here. There's new things, there's new modules. I can't imagine how many more lines of code are going on. Dashboard's different. It's almost like you can't take for granted what you knew or learned yesterday.
Oh, no. You're going to rely on it as the foundation because it's one of those issues I have with like advanced training. Advanced stuff is just based heavily on or stepping on really sound foundational understandings and skills.
And if you don't have that today,
then forget it, right? And quit hitting these advanced classes hoping like, well, if I understand these advanced concepts, I'll be able to fix this other easy stuff. No, you're doing it backwards. If you would learn this really quote unquote fundamental easy stuff, you'll be able to do the advanced stuff. It'll make sense.
So are you saying that people are skipping the basics?
Oh, they have been for
Very much so.
decades.
There's a lot of kids that are coming out that they want to become a diagnostician. They want to jump from 0 to 100. And I think that's admirable, but they don't understand that you have to kind of start at square one to get there. And that's what all of us have done already.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be a 10Xer like Zeb.
He didn't just
not
go
own a
from
building.
0 to 10. He went 1, 2, 3,
He
4,
did have
5.
a 4,000 square foot building first.
Yeah, I did. I started this when I was 14 years old.
Okay, wow.
He just went from 1
And he's
to
18
100.
now.
Yeah, and
46.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got
Damn.
a grandchild.
yeah.
You look really good for 46.
Thank you.
Damn.
I know I do.
Damn, I hope when I get to be 46, I look that
His
good.
wife sells Mary Kay. I don't know.
Yeah, you get some shine on your head. You better fix that.
It's that diesel fuel, man.
Maybe that's what it
Hell
is.
yeah.
Zeb, we've talked about a lot of great stuff here. Big takeaway here for our audience.
What are you asking?
Go for your dream, baby, right? I'm just asking you to summarize you being on the show and the things that we talked about. Are you happy with what we produced here for our
absolutely.
listeners?
I'm very happy to be on your show because your show is the premier show of all the shows.
Do I owe him money, Trace?
So-
What do I do
Yeah.
here?
I'm just so happy to be here because I feel
Did
like
he
I've
sign
made
an
the big time.
endorsement before he got here? Or?
He had that contract with the brains and
So
signatures.
yeah.
I have to tell you something. After the last ASTA, Tracy and Sarah Fraser taught a class. And she comes to me, she goes, Zeb was in my class.
Did she really?
She did.
I'm flattered. And that's how you get me. Just flatter me.
That's how you get car, man. You're like, you're two sides of the same coin,
I
man.
love it. I love it.
Yeah,
So
there
good.
people invite me to an event, and well, that's how I ended up at ASTA, and I'm going to the Fueling Connections.
Okay.
They hit me up. They were like, everybody's like, you going to Fueling Connections? I'm like, I don't know. And they said, well, we actually want you to be on a panel. I'm in.
Okay. Yeah. Put me to work.
From 0 to 100. Hasn't been going to training.
Give me a
Straight to
camera
the
and a
panel.
microphone.
I'm the
and I'm there.
opposite. They do that, and they're like, "Hey, we want you to be on this panel." I'm like, "I think I got something to do, like fold socks or."
You're strange. What about you, Andrew? Summarize it for me.
Matt can come up with anything at any point, especially when he's with you.
This whole AI thing. I mean, I knew I needed to ask him that because I haven't talked to him
You
about
know
it.
he'd go with it.
I mean, it just went places.
It's just amazing that we can come up with it. You can sit any group of people down and just come up with some amazing content.
Yep.
Obviously, even beforehand, before we were even recording, we were hitting it off immediately as soon as we walked in. So
yeah.
it's
That's probably what should have been recorded.
We should.
we should have been doing that. Yeah, Tracy should have just flipped them on and gone for it. So
We constantly talk about outtakes, and what we really should do is do the pre-takes.
Yeah, no
Just
kidding.
flip the microphones on and let it go, and then
just see what happens when it just is
Yeah.
natural.
it'd probably be one of those things like, "All right, is everybody ready? Okay, thanks for being here. We're done."
Yeah, we should be recording all
got
the
it.
camera moves and all the positions and all.
I was to say, Zeb would have been like, "When are we starting?" Oh no, we already started.
Yeah,
a long
we
time
already
ago.
started.
Yeah.
Y'all need to record everything I say because everything I say is interesting. So you might miss out if
Man,
you're
it just
not on
does
me all
not
the
stop
time.
with him, does it?
Listen, I knew he was this humble.
See, I've never met him. I heard about him from everybody else, and I'm like, "Is this going to be interesting tomorrow?" And they're like, "Oh yes, Zeb's there." You got Matt and Zeb and Carm. Like, yeah, it's just going to go for it. So,
But you brought some stability, Andrew. Thank you.
no problem.
Thank you for locking down.
I like to think that's in our class. What I do for Matt is I kind of bring him back down.
So yeah, Ryan, you got to keep me on track
Yeah.
because the tangents just like squirrel.
Thanks for the brainiac think about AI. And did you say the word quantum computing? I think
You
I did.
brought it up, and I said
did, and
alluded to it as more about speed.
It is about speed.
Yeah.
Look at what's going on with that, with Microsoft just announced. It's scary that we're living in a time, technology is happening faster than we'll ever keep up with. And then think about 5 years, another 10. Think about where we're going to be. If we snooze and we don't go to training and we skip classes and we're not paying attention and we're not buying the right equipment and we're not networking, you're gone. Forget about your career. You think you have one? You can't shortcut it today, can you?
No, you're going to completely miss out and be unable to fix modern vehicles.
Well, you asked earlier, what about this time? I wouldn't want to live in any other time. I love it. I was born for it.
Yeah, this just reminds me of this scene, Bruce Almighty, where the news guy is just gibberish.
Oh, right.
That's this episode summed up. Whole bunch of gibberish out of Matt, and everybody else makes sense. You got Zeb's Bruce. He's
I don't know.
roping the moon.
Zeb was speaking gibberish earlier, to be honest.
You thought because you couldn't
Yeah.
hear rice. I assure you, I
He
knew you
said
were talking
grass.
about rice.
100%.
Well, when they designed me, this is when my spacecraft crash landed in Arkansas. This is the voice I use to address humans.
That's why you need such a
When
big...
they engineered me, he's Skynet.
Is he AI?
He's Skynet, man. That's it.
We're starting now.
I just want you to know that I did reach over and touch his shoulder. So there is some kind of carbon
Flesh on that
unit.
side.
There's a carbon unit here somehow.
So he's not the first Terminator. He's like a later version.
I'm like a Gen 5 now.
I did notice when he walked in here, the door didn't open. So.
The beauty of Zeb is he takes whatever you're throwing at him and he takes it to another level.
rolls.
Absolutely. Every time. Matt Fanslow, Zeb Beard, Andrew Sexton, thanks for being here. And he did say grass.
Yeah, he did.
Thanks, guys.